Many of us stop listening to other people. Gain experience in listening to people is a very, very important thing. I do understand sometimes we are so busy with our work and there are so many tasks on the table and so many things to be done that one becomes impatient and do not listen to the people sitting opposite. But still, it is very, very important to listen to people as widely as possible, and that gives you insights which you will not get in theoretical books. My name is Partha Sarthi Sharma. I'm IAS Officer of Uttar Pradesh cadre. I am right now posted as Principal Secretary Medical Health and Family Welfare. I belong to the 1994 batch. I am located in Lucknow right now. Most of the IAS officers in the training also are given some posting. So my training district was Allahabad, now it is called Prayagraj, and I was given SDMship of a place which is now in a different district. At that time, it was a part of the Prayagraj Allahabad district. It was a place called Manjhanpur. So my real first posting was SDM Manjhanpur, and I didn't have the challenge of language because I knew Hindi pretty well and I was working in Uttar Pradesh, so language was not a problem. But there was a cultural difference. I had studied and I grew up in Delhi throughout. I was a complete urbanite. I had never lived in a village. And Manjhanpur was a rural hinterland subdivision. Even in my first posting, when I was posted as an SDM in the district of Varanasi, the subdivision that I was given is now a separate district. It is Chandauli. So both in Manjhanpur, which is now Kaushambi district, and Chandauli, which is now Chandauli district, it was eastern UP, rural subdivisions, areas and culture which I was not very conversant with. But the best part of the IAS is that you go and have experiences which you are not conversant with. So I think it is a great advantage that you get exposed to new experiences. And I would say that the best part of the service is to gain experiences and listen to people. Many of us stop listening to other people. Gain experience in listening to people is a very, very important thing. I do understand sometimes we are so busy with our work and there are so many tasks on the table and so many things to be done that one becomes impatient and do not listen to the people sitting opposite. I do understand that. It happens with all of us. But still, it is very, very important to listen to people as widely as possible, and that gives you insights which you will not get in theoretical books. So I think that is very, very important. Apart from reading books, you should also listen to people. So typically in the life of an IAS officer, he would have a posting every 2 years. In our times in Uttar Pradesh at that time, there was a lot of instability and we used to have posting every year or so. Now it is better in that sense. But most of the IAS officers would not have a choice of their postings. So I don't think that an IAS officer should put too much of premium on having specializations in their career, because it just does not happen that way. And every job and every assignment would be different. You would be lucky if you have assignments of a similar nature, but it will not be, because your convenience is not the only thing that the government will look into while posting you. So after you get posted, you have to mostly learn yourself, relearn, unlearn, and understand what the job is about. And in that, apart from reading, listening to people, listening to various stakeholders, listening to your subordinates will be very, very important. So after SDMship, typically you will do a stint as either Chief Development Officer of CEO Zilla Panchayat or a Municipal Commissioner before you become a collector. In our days, there were not too many postings in municipal commissioners or development authorities because rural India was the predominant theme. Today, with a lot more urbanizations, a lot of IAS officers are posted as municipal commissioners and in development authorities, and then you become collector or district magistrate. So that is one phase of your life which we call the field postings: SDMs, CDOs, COs, Zilla Panchayats, municipal commissioners, collectors. So that is a completely different ballgame. You require a different skill sets and the ability to public grievances, to resolve public grievances, the ability to execute national programs and state programs in the field, the ability to maintain law and order. These will be the principal challenges that will come during that part of your life. After the collectorship, a new phase starts. That is the phase when most of the IAS officers will become head of departments or will become managing director of corporations, typically power distribution companies. In my time, I remember I was, for a considerable period, looking after this Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan in Uttar Pradesh. So that was a very, very satisfying stint. I worked there for 2.5 years. I worked as DG Tourism, which was, as I told you, a head of department posting. I worked as managing director of power distribution companies, Purvanchal Distribution Company, Madhyanchal Distribution Company, Kanpur Electric Supply Corporation. I also worked as Commissioner Rural Development. So that is one stint in which I would say that is the second phase of a career of an IAS officer, when he works at the state level in head of departments or in corporations. The third stage comes when the IAS officer becomes secretary or principal secretary in the state government. Many IAS officers during this time would also like to think of going to Delhi for a Government of India posting. I went to Government of India posting a bit late because of various circumstances, but I became secretary in the state government. I was secretary of the secondary education department with an independent charge quite early in my career. And then I was secretary to the chief minister, which was again for 2.5 to 3 years. After that, I became Commissioner of Rural Development and then decided to go to Government of India. When you decide to go to Government of India and when you get an opportunity to go to Government of India, or you do not decide to go to Government of India, is a major decision in the life of an IAS officer. I decided to go to Government of India. So in Government of India, I was posted as Joint Secretary in the Department of Fertilizers, and then I got empaneled and became Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Culture. I have come back from the Government of India and I am now Principal Secretary in the Medical Health and Family Welfare Department, heading the department, which is a big department and a very heavy desk. But this is typically the kind of stints that a IAS officer would go through, and at the end of the day, he can expect to retire from his state government as an Additional Chief Secretary or a Chief Secretary, or he can expect to retire from Government of India as a Secretary to Government of India or as even the Cabinet Secretary, which is the highest post, considered to be the highest post in the entire government hierarchy. So that is typically how the career of an IAS officer goes. So when an IAS officer works, there is something called deputation postings. Now, some of the deputation postings are in the state itself, which you will never even realize. So, for example, when you work as a managing director of a power corporation, actually it is a deputation posting. You are deputed to the power corporation. But you will not find the difference too much. It almost remains the same. The real deputations are of three types. One is the deputation to Government of India, when you decide to go on central deputation, as it is called. At that time also, it is either of the two. One, you offer yourself for central deputation and Government of India can then post you under the central staffing scheme in any of the ministries. The other, you apply for a particular post which is advertised, and then you are selected for that particular post. So that is what is called central deputation. Apart from that, IAS officers also have a choice or to apply for interstate deputation. So many of the IAS officers, they choose to go for a 5-year maximum interstate deputation, sometimes because of family or personal reasons, sometimes because of other reasons. So they would choose to go for a state deputation. The third is what is called a deputation to under Rule 622. That is, you go on deputation to a non-profit making organization or a UN body. So people do avail of that opportunity also, and under Rule 622 they sometimes do a deputation to some other organization where there is no conflict of interest and where there is no profit making motivation. So currently I am working as Principal Secretary Medical Health and Family Welfare in the Government of Uttar Pradesh. As everybody of you know, Uttar Pradesh is the most populous state in this country, most complex state in this country. And this is a sector which is extremely complex, heavy, wide. But it is also a sector which is very satisfying, because whatever you do directly affects the life of millions of people. So in Uttar Pradesh it will be typically 250 million, which is almost half of the population of Europe. So that is the scale that you work with, and that is the satisfaction that you get out of the work. Typically, in such a heavy desk, it will be a challenge to maintain a physical regime. I struggle to maintain it. But typically, you'll be working since 9:30 to 8:30 every day. There will be a lot of file work, a lot of paperwork, a lot of attending to meetings, chairing meetings, a lot of field work also. For example, yesterday only I had a 15-hour day, and when I got to the hinterlands of Gonda, district of Uttar Pradesh, going to the village, looking at health and wellness centers, going to district hospitals, talking to the doctors and officers there, trying to understand, trying to guide. So this is typically the life of an IAS officer at this stage of life. I hope what I said will give you some flavor of what kind of different postings an IAS officer would be expected to do and what kind of work he is expected to do over a span of his career. There's nothing typical about it, but this is how an IAS officer's life would span out over a period of 3 decades. I hope it is useful. Thank you.